Hello and welcome back to Relate, Relax, Release. In this episode, I want to jump straight into it. And the topic today is unmasking the good girl complex. Now, I want to start off just really briefly with a sentiment in why this is an important space to hold for everyone, even if you aren't a woman or a girl. I think it's important to listen in on these type of conversations. But I want to start us off with a sentiment that actually a friend gave to me. You can go fast with knowledge, but you can go far with wisdom. And honestly, that really resonated with me because I think at the core of everything in healing from a deep primal separation wound and your ego over-actualizing things, it's important to know that yes, obtaining knowledge is good, but you think you're going super fast and you're doing the things, but actually you can go far as a collective. You can go far with wisdom, and wisdom comes from actually knowing what to do with that knowledge, one, but two, it comes from community. It comes from learning your wisdom through other people's lived experiences, so you don't necessarily have to go through all of the pits. But of course, pits can be super helpful because sometimes digging a pit means you'll find gold. But anyways, I don't want to digress. I just wanted to set the sentiment of if anything triggers you, it's literally not a call out at all. It's only ever from my own personal lived experience and what I've learned from it. So let's get into unmasking the good girl complex. And for me, I know that it deeply, deeply stems from my separation from my biological family at a very young age. And so in my human experience, it's not only just my deep separation from divine energy, from God, but also my separation from my family and my soul tribe. But yes, I was given away at age 2. And for me, that created so much confusion and questioning. And that ultimately influenced my good girl complex, my need to feel seen and validated. It can honestly just leave a massive void. And that leaves space for ideologies to jump in and fill that void, whether it be culturally or self-imposed. It also just leaves space for things to jump into that void and bring you down vibrationally. Now, for me, I know that me having that space allowed room for this development of the good girl complex, and it has quite honestly been a reoccurring theme in my life, to which I am still addressing its lingering effects and moving with that in the forefront of my mind and knowing that I have to be accountable for the fact that is something that can impact me and others around me. Now, if you're lost, let's get into defining what the good girl complex is. To my understanding, the good girl complex is a societal expectation placed on women and young girls, influencing them to be agreeable, palatable, pleasing, and even at times perfect. And ultimately, what the good girl complex creates is sometimes the correlation to people pleasing and lack of boundaries. It also creates a need for external validation. And all of these expectations combined just create a dangerous space. These expectations, whether self-imposed or environmentally imposed, can shape your behavior and affect your self-perception. And it can be so dangerous because if you don't see how it's showing up in your identity and taking up space in your life, you can end up in spaces and places and timelines with people or doing things that you have no business doing. You can end up putting yourself in spaces or places where people can see that complex within you and utilize that to their advantage. If others can see that complex in you, that need to appease others and to keep the peace, it can have you holding on to situations, relationships much longer than you're supposed to, or trying to navigate things in a palatable way because you have this complex that you're battling, in which you don't want to be a bad person, but it isn't even intrinsically the same thing. Having that good girl complex attached to you, you've created a system in which you constantly get rewarded for self-abandonment. Like, how many times have you not really wanted to do something or go somewhere, but then you go because you feel bad that you should. It is really, really dangerous and really tricky to navigate because you basically have been in a loop of being rewarded for abandoning yourself and making choices that are more in alignment with other people's needs than your own. And that can leave you internally with resentment that you haven't worked through. And then when that resentment either pops up or the dynamics shift, it kind of leaves you questioning if you're a bad person, but it's only because you've had behaviors in alignment with this good girl complex. And so it's just really important to hold space and be cognizant of it so that you can move in a more healing manner, setting better boundaries, listening to your inner voice, listening to truly what you stand for, trying to avoid being palatable. Yeah, maybe honestly, just really avoiding being palatable. Just be authentically yourself. I think that's part of the way to liberate yourself within this complex. But we're going to get onto the healing at the tail end of this. Now, the good girl complex is one of those things where it's really dangerous because the more you self-abandon, the more you have to overcompensate and show up in different areas. And sometimes it can project itself as toxic perfectionism. And toxic perfectionism is one of those things where it can be extremely fun and also extremely crippling. So it's one of those areas where you teeter and play with it because certain aspects of it can be serving to you, but ultimately you need to see what is the roots of that. And especially from a cultural background like Gambia, which is where I was born, from what I understand as a culture and as a collective, we suffer majorly from masking. It's this toxic perfectionism that has taken root, and it's created this culture of just constant performing, constant validation, like danga ba, you're doing the right thing, like this is good. But then internally you may even feel like, but I'm abandoning myself by all of these choices and minimizing spaces of my voice, or trying to be palatable, or trying to maneuver things the right way. It's important to have some of those values, but if it becomes the forefront of everything that you do, you end up living in a state of inauthentic masking. Trying to keep the peace, trying to appease others is literally a breeding ground for frustration and resentment, because you'll be trying to control everything, and you can even end up living in like a silent jealousy because you're wondering, why is it so much easier for everyone else when no, truly you are just not living and standing authentically in self. And I've been on that tail end when it's like, ooh, I think I just need to figure out a bit more of my inner personal dialogue and my inner personal self-worth. Because if not, you'll look up and you'll realize that you've done more performing than you have living and standing for something. And on standing, it's not clocking to you that if you stand for everything, you stand for nothing. It's not clocking to you. It wasn't clocking to me either, but it's okay because you really can't stand for everything. You can't be in every pocket of life. Like, there are certain times where you have to realize that also, if your good girl complex has had you in avenues that no longer serve you, quite literally let it go, because the single most important thing in life is you. Like, you have to put you first, fill up your cup, get in front of God and the energy that raises your vibrations so that you can authentically heal. And sometimes that means letting go of a lot of things. That means being okay with letting other people's expectations down, letting them be shocked of your new choice to choose you because you chose the opposite for so long, bearing the weight of your complex. The dangerous aspects of a good girl complex can cause you severe misalignment. And you need to understand that your alignment is the single most valuable thing to you. And that constant state of living in misalignment will just frustrate you more because you're just not getting things the way that you want to, because you're putting out for others before you put into yourself. And if you put values into others before you put value in yourself, you'll seek that fulfillment through the need for, and I know this one, I'm clutching my chest, the affinity towards nice things. Ooh, that one got me in the chest. and also external validation. So you just really want to take a deep dive on yourself and just understand no one is perfect. That's first. And you should never strive for perfection, because if you look at the actual definition of perfect, it means complete. It means finished and done. You are never finished and done in this living life. You are constantly evolving, constantly healing, constantly learning. When you're done, you're also not really in existence. I'm not going to say the D word, but you're not in existence. So don't strive for perfection. Strive for authentic living. And when you create that space of just like trying to fill that space with your affinity for nice things and extravagance and external validation, and it can even go as far into other things as well, like centering men, short-term enjoyment. None of these things are truly fulfilling. And so therefore, because it isn't truly fulfilling, it leaves you in a space of trying to pull in more. And then once you're in a state of trying to pull in more because you need that fix, you then are controlling your circumstances, controlling the outcomes, trying to pull in this, trying to make this happen, trying to do that. That creates hustling. That is a lack of trust. You're not trusting in yourself. You're not trusting in God. You really don't trust God to infiltrate into your life because you haven't trusted the fact that yourself or your living environment or the people that raised you were going to give you space to be authentically you, and then therefore calcified this identity, calcified this complex into you. And that mistrust, that need for control, it will only blow up in your face. And it may not even happen now. It could literally happen years or months down the line. But ultimately, anything that you pull towards you swings back. Let's imagine a pendulum. Anything you pull towards you, it will swing back. So try and avoid getting in that state. So to quickly just loop that all back in, good girl complex is the same or the equivalent to misaligned intention. Like what is the real intention within you? What is your real purpose? What is your value? What do you think your worth is? What do you think God sees your worth as? And my mentor and coach really helps me with that. So ultimately, in summary, your good girl complex comes from a misaligned intention. You were trying to fulfill a void at some point, or trying to appease someone else, or trying to create maybe even companionship because you had this primal separation at some point, or a letdown, or you saw something unfold between people. And I just want to close out with the healing to move forward. Now, the healing to move forward is specifically speaks to me and what I use to move forward. Now, number one is face your shadows. I cannot stress this enough. Even when it comes to manifesting, and I want that to be a whole separate topic, but manifesting or just moving in alignment with the will of God and yourself and your true vision and your true calling and having a definiteness of purpose, manifesting, your law of attraction can only come through. Your complexes can only melt away once you face your shadows. Look at your heart posture. It will tell you so much. Where do you need to purify your heart? At one point, I had to realize, oh, this is all crumbling because I'm not operating from stillness, stability, commanding my energy, commanding my thoughts, calling in God for the support. I am trying to get this end result, get this goal, have it look like this, have it feel like that, be greedy, wonder why I don't have this, be mad at this person, but then try and show up like that. Like chaos, just chaos. So look at your heart posture and then ask yourself if you're even a vibrational match for that which you are asking for. If not, amazing still, because you have that baseline to work towards. What is the state of your vibration? What is the condition of your spirit? What condition is your spirit in? Are you under spiritual attack? Are you mentally ill? Are you physically ill? What is physically manifesting in your life? Are you in debt? Are you losing friends? Like, what is the state of your spirit? How are your relationships? How are your friendships? And what is that theme that's reoccurring trying to teach you? And at every point I talk to you, I just want you to know I am both teaching you through my experience and learning at the same time. Never think that it's anything more than being student and teacher at the same time, because you should always strive for the knowledge. But then remember, like I said at the beginning, the wisdom comes from the togetherness, comes from observing and knowing what to do with that knowledge. Okay, so just know I am not healed, because healed would be equivalent to perfect, of which no one is and no one should want to be. It's a constant journey. Healing is your goal. Can you be very, very healing? Yes, I would say very, very healing. I don't know if we can ever truly be healed, because I think that would be in spirit form when you're back with God. Anyways, I digress. Move your body is number 2. Move your body. I can't stress this enough, because movement is like one of the greatest tools to raise your vibrational state, raise your energy. Quite simply, just raise your energy. It can be through singing, dancing, running, joining a fitness group. And that is honestly one of the things that was important to me on my journey of growth. And that's why I joined at Solid Core. And I would also say seek healing from the spaces that heal you. Because Solid Core was healing to me. It was helping me become physically stronger, which was helping me become mentally stronger, which was helping me overcome a lot of the things that I was feeling attacked in. You know, hanging around with narcissists, being in the wrong spaces, being ill within myself, being low vibrational myself, having this complex, like so many layers, right? But having one choice, which is number 2, move your body as much as you can, will really help you. Then number 3 is simply just look at your beliefs. I kind of already touched on that in number 1, but look at your beliefs and just see how they're showing up in your life and own it. Don't be ashamed or scared of it, but own how it's showing up and be real with yourself. Then number 4, figure out how you will protect and defend yourself to get to where you need to be. Like, how are you going to get there? Do you have on the full armor of God? Do you have the support of God to walk the path that you're trying to? Have you committed it to prayer? How are you defending what it is that you're trying to actually achieve? You know, like I could have done just step 2, for example, move my body. But then if I don't have the other components, it won't really get far, because like I said, you can get fast with knowledge, but you get far with wisdom. And you're going to need the other aspects to help you shape and reshape the belief systems that you have, and to remove the limiting ones that already exist. Build your self-worth. Your self-worth is quite literally the foundation of everything in your life. My personal development coach, Zenja Glass, is really, really groundbreaking at this. And so I would say, if you need a space and a community that helps you build your self-worth, seek it. Ask God, put it in your heart, ask God to give you a space and a place. Hey, maybe you stick around here, of which you start to develop your self-worth, because you validate your experience. You know that you aren't alone, because guess what? The dark forces of this world want you to feel alone. They want you to feel alone in your experience and your shortcomings and the maybe not so great things that you've lived or done, because that is how separation continues. But how do you come back to self? How do you come back to the divine? How do you come back to what your purpose is? Build your self-worth. Asking God to bring in the helpers along the way is so important. And then know that once you choose healing, like literally your choice is one of the single most important things that you could do for yourself outside of connection to God. Like, using your choice wisely is the single most important thing that you could do outside of talking to God. I'm going to say it one more time. Your choices are the single most important thing outside of your connection to God. So choose wisely. That's why they say that. Choose wisely. How do you choose wisely? You need wisdom. How do you get wisdom? You seek community that actually affirms your inner feelings and thoughts and experiences. You build your self-worth. You use other people's experiences and your own to re-navigate your direction. How do you know your direction? You talk to God about it. You clear out the energy that isn't a vibrational match to what you really want. And you just keep going. And you try, you fail, you keep going. You get up, you dust it off, you keep going. Your choice is so important. Use it wisely. In a world that makes it so hard to feel like you do have choices, be grateful for the tiny adjustments that you have the ability to make. That will open up your freedom for more choice. Just shift your mindset. Find the seed of gold within every aspect of life. Look for the wins. And in that, embrace your imperfection. Embrace it. Quite literally, just freeing yourself in knowing that no one can be perfect. And then utilize that for your healing purpose. Not for anything else, but for your healing. No one is perfect. I'm not perfect. I accept that. And I also accept how my good girl complex had me performing to feel intrinsically good when that's not, number one, that's not even necessary, but number two, that brings no intrinsic value back into me. And that's the single most important thing for me and for anyone. Find what feeds your intrinsic value and stay there and build on that and stay away from anything else that doesn't add to that. And so I want to close out by asking you, are you a good girl? Do you know a good girl complex person in your surrounding? What are you doing to be cognizant of that whole space for it and help yourself or help others out of it? Because I think if as a collective we understand that decentering anyone and centering self isn't selfish, but it leads to self-fulfillment, which allows you to be able to help and heal. You know, that's really important. Please, 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 if you feel alone in this, literally know that you aren't. Chat with me. Let me know. Sound off in the comments if this is something you've dealt with. And I just really hope that you gained even a grain of freedom from this, right? Freedom from your own thoughts where you feel shackled to these concepts that can be so real in our environment and in our day-to-day lives. So ask yourself if you think that the good girl complex is something that's been weighing on you or directing your navigation system, and what will you do to change it? I just want you to know that I hold space to love on myself and to send you so much love on your healing journey, and I hope that you continue to find your release. And I'll see you in the next episode. Love you. Bye.